All right. Meanwhile, you might want to get ready for a few more auto companies to set up shop here and expand here. Michigan Governor Rick Snyder is happy with Ford's plans to do just that. Would this have happened without Donald Trump?
Well, again, I think Donald Trump and his focusing on pro-growth, really getting the economy going, is a positive in that respect. But what I would say is we have natural competitive advantages in terms of, again, 75% of the research and development for the entire auto industry happens in Michigan. We've got a president-elect working with the state, working with all different levels. The local people were fabulous in terms of making this happen down in Flat Rock. So this is how things should happen, is people partner together to create jobs in our country.
All right, so the governor very happy with Ford's plans to expand a facility there in his fine state that will have 700 new workers, looking at 700 new jobs. All good. And was it the threat of tariffs and the threat of punishing companies that ship those jobs overseas, or in this case south of the border, the reason? To the car coach Lauren Fix and economist Jerry Bowyer. Lauren, welcome both of you. First, but on to you. Is the threat good enough that Donald Trump has not had to act on that? He's just raised it, and it got Ford to the table, might get GM to the table on other matters. What do you think?
Well, part of the thing is that some of these jobs were going to leave, and there's a tariff in place, and manufacturers are very concerned. Ford was first to jump on board to say, you know what, we want to work out a deal with you. We don't need any more penalties. There's so much going on with National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the EPA and their impact on each manufacturer. The last thing you want to be doing is putting yourself in a bad position, which is what GM did the other day by saying, hey, you know, we're going to build a Chevy Cruze in Mexico. We're going to take some jobs with us. That's not going to be good for the economy or good for jobs. And he's on an agenda, and he's going to do Trump's going to do anything he can to get those jobs back here in the U.S. and put Americans back to work.
You know, Jerry, you're like a free marketeer. I don't know if I'd go so far to say a Mr. Laissez-faire kind of guy, but some purists are already telling me, Neil, I like the idea of saving jobs. I don't like the means by which the president-elect is going about it. What do you say?
Well, I like some of the ways he's going about it, but I don't like all the ways he's going about it. You know, when he says to carrier, listen, bear with me, I'm going to get in here, I'm going to deal with overregulation, I'm going to deal with overtaxation, give me some time, I think that's great. When he starts getting into punitive language, I'm going to punish you, I think that's not so great. And what's so strange to me
is... But what if the language, Jerry, I'm sorry to jump on you, just to clarify.
That's okay.
What if the language is such that I'm not going to act on it. I'm just going to threaten you like we do with our kids, you know. I'm going to kick you out of the house and never let you back in. Wait a minute, I already did that. No, but you know what I mean? Like that's all he wants to do. What do you think?
Did you let them back in?
Ah, well, there is that. There is that. But what do you make of that? You know what I'm saying?
So the point is that, you know, don't make a threat you're not willing to keep, because eventually your threats won't be worth anything and your word will. And I can't imagine you kicking your kids out of the house anyway.
No, it would be like George Jetson. I'd get the dog out and the dog is looking at me as I'm in that. Let me in.
You know, what I find interesting is where there are a lot of free marketeers, as you put it, and I think that's what I am, a free marketeer. But there's a lot of free marketeers that have been going on this network and written op-eds about free trade their whole career. And now they're on the inside. Where are they? Why aren't we hearing from them? You know,
that's a very good point.
If you want to make America great again, start with people who have the same principles when your party is in power as when it's out of power. If your guy's in, are you willing to sell those principles to remain part of the inner circle? That's a big question, and I think we're going to. Yeah, I'm hearing nothing. I'm hearing silence from so many conservative advisors to the president-elect.
Lauren, you're nodding your head.
I'm agreeing with him. I mean, I'm a free marketeer also, but I also think, you know, with these tariffs, they are probably threats. But what I see as a bigger threat is the EPA. Scott Pruitt is now going to be in charge of the EPA, and President Obama decided to put a little wrench in the whole situation by they were going to reevaluate the corporate average fuel economy. That is a much larger impact on auto manufacturers and the penalties that can be enforced through the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. And they're going opposing where they used to be partners. So NHTSA is saying, wait a minute, we're going to wait till the next administration comes in before we impose penalties on those people that didn't comply in whatever area. Where on the EPA side, they're saying, no, wait a minute. we're going to make it so that you have to make the corporate average fuel economy, known as CAFE, at 54.5 miles to the gallon, which manufacturers have said we can't make that happen. So there's a penalty. Again, whereas you always say, where does that money go? It goes to the general fund. If it went to the roadways so the bridges were safer for autonomous cars and such, different story. But you and I both know how this game works. You know, you've got what's left from the previous administration. He's going to try and make it very difficult for Donald Trump to make any changes that he would like to make. And on top of that, President-elect Trump said already he's a big fan of fossil fuels. So how is that going to impact the market when you're talking about Tesla, Apple, and Google's cars? Everyone's got these autonomous cars. There's going to be a lot happening in the auto industry that no one's seeing.
Yeah, but if you're a governor of a big auto state, you don't care about those details. You just care for the time being about getting those jobs. Not yet. Not yet. Well, thank you both very, very much. Happy New Year to both of you. Appreciate your insight.